a man who can copy the power of other Zanpakutos, including Genryusai's Ryujin Jaka, Aizen's Kyokasu Getsu, or even Kuriyashiki's Gagaku Kairu. According to the polls, you guys voted for the most menacing Bleach villain, Tokinada Tsunayashiro. This is episode 2 of the insane novel abilities. Please support part 1.
ようこそ私のソウルソサエティへ。
仕方ないっすね。挽回観音開き紅姫改め。
When you think of Bleach villains, surely characters like Yuha must come to mind. His objective being to destroy the 3 worlds and return them to one. Or Aizen Sosuke, whose objective was to shape the universe into something else. That is, after destroying the Soul Society. And then there's Tokinada, who simply wants to throw the entire world into chaos and imbibe himself upon the infinite pleasures of watching the world burn. Concerning Aizen Sosuke and Yuha, some fans might even question the very idea that they should be called villains. However, Tokinada is undoubtedly a villain. Tokinada emerges from one of the 4 great noble houses of the Bleach world, the house of the Tsunayashiro. As such, he possesses astounding spiritual pressure even when compared to other captains. Spiritual pressure on par with Byakuya Kuchiki and Yoruichi Shihoin, enough to put even the likes of Shunsui Kyoraku on his toes. That being said, although his Reiatsu is a far cry below those like Genryusai Shigekuni and Aizen Sosuke, through Nanao's observation, Genryusai's Reiatsu is like pure wrath, while Tokinada's is simply disgusting, like a slug slithering on your skin while secreting melting slime. Bruh, this man is a psycho. In addition to possessing Reiatsu like Byakuya and Yoruichi, Tokinada also has the power to increase his Reiatsu to insane levels. By using the power of absorption through his clan Zanpakuto Enrakyoten, which I'll explain later, he could quickly absorb the likes of Ora Michibane's Reiatsu to the point where she was almost completely empty. This not only replenished his Reiatsu, which he had used up earlier, but bestowed upon him a significant amp to his spiritual capabilities, even allowing him to not die instantly after taking Ginjo Kugo's Bankai Getsuga Tensho directly to the body. For the sake of comparison, let's make a trip to the past. While traveling through the Garganta, Unohana Retsu had reasoned that Ichigo, at full power, would likely be encroaching upon Aizen's level. That is, of course, without the use of his Shikai. Furthermore, Sosuke did not mock Ichigo for a lack of power, but a lack of intent, as Ichigo's level of resolve will determine how strong his attacks are. Ichigo regained and surpassed the power of that past Bankai form by awakening and adding Fullbring. Nevertheless, Ginjo could withstand the explosive emission of that Fullbring soul, and Tsukishima, who rivaled Ginjo, could parry a Getsuga Tensho from a serious Ichigo. But once Ichigo acquired Fullbring Shikai, a single Getsuga would have ended Ginjo had he not absorbed Ichigo's power prior. And upon releasing that full power in a Shikai form, Ginjo could rival Ichigo's own Fullbring Shikai step for step. This tremendous power, which could one-shot an opponent, which Ichigo's Fullbring Power Ranger form could not, was an emission from Fullbring Shikai. But can't for your own world, Ginjo, who should be stronger than his Lost Agent arc version, had not only struck Tokinada at point-blank range, but was also in Bankai form. But despite his wound, the great noble could still stand his ground before teleporting away with Aizen's Senton Hakuja, then had a whole conversation with Kisuke Urahara before returning to Soul Society, where he met his end at the hands of someone else. As far as abilities are concerned, he excels at Kido and can make use of Aizen's Senton Hakuja for teleportation. His Reikaku or sensory prowess surpasses that of Shunsui Kyoraku's. With Zanjutsu and speed, he could keep pace with Shunsui Kyoraku and even reacted to his Kageyoni. And his intellect is astounding as he manipulated the Soul Society and Fullbringers for over a century, planned the creation of a new being in Ikone Ubeginu, had plans to send the entire world into chaos, which Shunsui confirmed would have worked. And for the vast majority of their battle, he was able to suppress more than a dozen captain class characters by going back and forth between different Zanpakuto abilities as they fit the situation. At first, like Yumichika, he used a false Shikai, Kuten Kyokuku, with the release command Revere or Tatematsure, and the ability to reflect physical attacks. But the true power of his clan Zanpakuto, the Enrakyoten, is to copy the abilities of any Zanpakuto Tokinada has seen, except the power of the copied Zanpakuto will be scaled to his own Reiatsu, and the more he uses it, the more it will eat away at his soul permanently. Although he was able to fight a virtual army of captain class characters and spam Zanpakuto abilities before it had any significant effect on him. In fact, he manifested more than a dozen Zanpakuto abilities. If you recall, he can copy whichever Zanpakuto ability he has seen, and guess who's in charge of the visual departments, which is able to see the entire living world and Sedete? That's right, Tokinada saw all the battles against the Espadas and Aizen, And with his Shikai command, he mimicked the abilities of Gin's Shinso and Byakuya's Senbon-Zakura, could not replicate Ichigo's Zangetsu power because of Ichigo's unique existence. He copied Anataro's Zanpakuto, Hisagomaru, which turns wounds into spiritual attacks, which he used to regenerate his organs which were torn to pieces. Gagaku Kairo, Kenpachi Kuriashi his Shikai, Izuru Kira's Wabisuke, which is gravity manipulation, except Tokinada could increase your weight way more than he could because his Ryatsu was higher. Earth element manipulation through Tsuchinamazu, that Afro guy Zenosuke's Zanpakuto, the one who almost killed Aizen but felt merciful. Ash manipulation via Rangiku Matsumoto's Haineko, except it was way stronger than when she used it because its Ryatsu is way higher than hers. Shigekuni Genryu Sayamamoto's Ryujin Jaka, except it was weaker than the old man's, given Tokinada's lesser Ryatsu. He could manifest reality warping abilities with Shunsui Kyoraku's Katen Kyokotsu, which changes children's games into reality. In fact, he had an exhaustive knowledge on Shunsui's abilities, even his Bankai, the terrifying twin strikes of Suzume Bachi, the dominating and elusive powers of Kyokasu Getsu, disrupting the five senses and the spiritual sense, which the novel noted, could make you misread spiritual power all the way down to the spiritual quantum level. And other Zanpakuto including Toshiro's Hyorinmaru, Tosen's Suzumushi, and Komamura's Tenkin. And as previously mentioned, he was able to absorb almost all of Ora Michibane's spiritual pressure, to the point where he was able to survive a Bankai Getsuga Tensho from Ginjo. This was accomplished by means of Yumichika's true ability, Ruri Iro Kujaku, which can absorb the enemy's spiritual energy and grant it to the user, thereby healing their wounds and drastically increasing their spiritual power. Even hollow-based Ryatsu can be absorbed and purified. Oh, and in case you thought I was finished, this demon also has Tenkai Ketchu-based chips, which he can use to teleport people and objects across dimensions. And for some reason or another, he has nukes, and a poison cannon that rivals Mayuri Kurotsuchi's Bankai's poison emission. And one more thing, Tokinada could have slaughtered majority of the characters, including Shunsui Kyoraku, before the Zanpakuto had any significant effect on him, but he just wanted to watch them in despair. And just imagine him using all of these abilities while being amped by Aura's Ryatsu, which allowed him to survive a Getsuga Tensho. With all those abilities and that much more Ryatsu, can you imagine where he would rank among the strongest Shinigami of all time? Cheers, and the polls will be going up soon where you can vote for the next novel character.